You know what is just utterly ridiculous? The ridiculous amount of phonies in the world. Fucking phonies. Everyone out there. You got your little agenda, your fucking politics, all your bullshit solutions, your one-minded partisan solutions. This is the simple answer and everything will work out a-okay and I am right and you are wrong. You know, you got your ANCAPs, you know, like, oh yeah, we don't need any government. Government's completely evil, you know. Yeah, you know, minimum wage is like ridiculous, you know, it's taking jobs, you know, because, you know, people can't afford to pay $7.50 an hour, you know, and now, God forbid, they raise it to, you know, 11, you know, who are these people that want to be paid, you know, honest wage for an honest work? Oh yeah, you know, free trade's great. You know, it's fine, you know, it's all about the free market and, you know, the competition, you know, and if I have a business and I can get something done, you know, at a cheaper price and make more money, and it's all great for the economy, and, you know, there'll be plenty of jobs and prices will go down, you know, in this system, so you could be making $2 an hour and that's like making 50 grand a year and everything's just gonna work out a-okay. And, you know, when I make billions of dollars, I'm gonna, you know, be very charitable with that, and I'm gonna, you know, be very charitable, you know, lots of quality homeless shelters, job training, you know, give everyone a chance that's willing to work hard, you know. It completely doesn't take into effect mental illness and the fact that some people are just not capable of doing very much in the realm of jobs, and, you know, it's so focused on this, you know, idea that, you know, you have to have something to offer, you know, you have to have something particularly generally material, something to offer, and it's all about materialism and consumerism, and I'm not a big fan of that. You know, I mean, I can get into it in theory, you know, yeah, it's great, but how many people are out there that are going to be, wow, I'm really rich and wealthy and blessed, and I'm going to give my money to an individual, you know, instead of these charities, like, I mean, and Goodwill, and they turn out to be, like, just ridiculous, and it's all about, you know, how much money the CEO is going to make, you know, as opposed to, you know, helping people. You know, and honestly, I mean, what's the big deal? Like, say, hypothetically, you know, some guy's homeless, and say he's going to drink beer, you know, say some guy lives in the woods and he's an alcoholic and he's mentally ill, and I mean, let's face it, like, currently there's not much opportunity, there's not much out there, many people really trying to help, I mean, without preaching, you know, and, you know, going to the shelter and you gotta pray, you know, for your food, you know, but I mean, if there were more help and opportunities out there, I could see maybe a little bit being like, well, you know, there's all this opportunity out there, you know, I'm not going to give you money to drink beer. I still disagree with it because, I mean, people are going to be the way they are. It'd be nice if there were, you know, more opportunities out there. But, I mean, let's say with all the opportunities, someone still just genuinely chose to be lazy and drink beer, and that's all they do is drink beer all the time. And they don't accomplish anything. Well, the way I see it, it's totally free market. You know, that person chooses that, and I can choose to give him money, you know, because I have plenty of money, and especially if the guy's being honest with me and he's like, hey, I'm in a level with you, I'm perfectly content, you know, just living in the woods and drinking beer, you know, and say he's not even, like, really mentally ill, like, say it works for him, you know, seems weird and it's kind of hard for me to understand, but as long as it's working for him, what's the problem? I mean, who's being hurt here? I mean, assuming he's not, running around town. He's not one of them drunks that gets crazy and like goes out and rapes people. You know, like he's a chill drunk who just goes in his tent and, you know, likes to play his guitar and just relax and, you know, go to bed and wake up and go get some more money and go back to his tent and get drunk. And yeah, he's damaging his health. You know, alcohol is one of the worst drugs, you know, known to man. You know, alcohol's terrible. I mean, I'd much prefer, you know, the homeless guy to, you know, get a bag of green and just smoke that, you know, and just, I'm a peaceful guy who likes to smoke my green and eat mushrooms every now and then. You know, I don't see the harm in that. And, you know, say, you know, in this society, you know, say he's functionable, say he actually volunteers at the homeless shelter, you know, and helps, you know, ladle out the fucking soup. I mean, does this shit really matter? I mean, like, no one chooses to be born. No one chooses to be born. You know, so shit, your only outlet is suicide. You know, if you don't want to be born, you know, but you can't not be born. You know, if your only outlet is suicide, I mean, you know, do we want to tell these people to kill themselves? I mean, it'd be nice to try to help these people and get them to reform. You know, and that's why I think there should be more opportunities. But even if people don't take advantage of the opportunities and they're content with that lifestyle, who are we to judge? You know, who are we to judge? If they're content with that lifestyle, then, and it's working for them, and as long as it's working for them, and then one day when, say, you know, they get burnt out and it's not working for them any longer, then there should be opportunities for them to, you know, exercise their personal responsibility and get straight. You know, I mean, it's part personal responsibility, but a lot of it is opportunity, and it's kind of ridiculous, like the large amount of Christians out there that don't care, because I'm pretty sure Jesus would have been feeding homeless people and wouldn't have all the strings attached, and would, you know, if Jesus had a whole bunch of money, you know, and driving a Mercedes, you know, because there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with liking materials and having nice things and enjoying them. And I'm not saying you should give all your money away, but I mean, wouldn't Jesus give people a little bit of money? Like, even if you think that marijuana is bad, like, Jesus could give someone money knowing they're going to smoke marijuana, and let's just assume it's bad, and that's their choice, you know, but it's making them happier, and in the meantime they have to learn on their own that that's not the way. And now, personally, you know, I think that the drug war is bullshit, and I am aware that, you know, there are some drugs that are definitely worse than others, but I am a firm believer in moderation being the key, and with drugs like marijuana, you know, and especially the ability to grow them naturally, you know, I can grow marijuana and I can, you know, give them proper treatment and be like an expert, and it's medicinal, you know. You can find different strains, you know, one that's going to help you go to sleep, you know, one that helps with pain, anxiety, depression, you know. You know, you can have something you can wake and bake with where you can still be fully functionable, you know, depending on how much you smoke. You know, you're going to have energy and stuff, and also less anxiety, less pain. You know, some people out there just have headaches every day, and you can get rid of that, you know, neck, back tension. You know, but you know, I mean, you got all these liberals out there, these liberal hypocrites. I mean, everyone's a phony. In fact, right now, I'm personally more into, out of all the groups, there's only two groups I can really kind of respect from what I know of the most. You know, which is not to say I'm 100% gung-ho about it, but currently I'm registered Green. I think the Green Party has a lot of good stances. I'm not 100% on the stance on guns and tobacco. Not big on that. I feel like they may be a little too statist for my taste, but they do have some pretty good anti-authoritarian traits to kind of balance that out. So from what I know, it seems like they're definitely willing to help people and have, you know, seems like they have better programs than like the standard, you know, bullshit, you know, social programs that the Democrats have that are just, the bureaucracy is ridiculous, you know. All the hoops you have to jump to just to get like a tiny amount of assistance, and they expect you to vote for them because, you know, I mean, they're so great, the Democrats. They're helping people so much, you know, and it's actually really inefficient, you know, all the people they pay, you know, to be their little cushy government bureaucrat jobs, you know, just to dole out the money to so-and-so, but not dole out the money to so-and-so. And so-and-so is doing this, but they're still at the poverty level, but we're going to help them, but this person's homeless, and we're not going to help them. And if they're content to be homeless and they're living in a tent, you know, we're going to have these cops that slash up your tent. You know, that's totally okay. You know, for whatever reason they decide we're going to help you but not help you, and some guy gets to have a nice job or girl gets to have a nice job and make 50 grand a year, you know, retire, get a nice pension, you know, these bureaucrats, hell, I think they'd probably spend less money just giving people, you know, $1,500 a month, you know, without having to go through all the strings. Like, okay, you know, if you want to make more and if you want to do something better with your life, you have that opportunity. But, you know, as a basic safety net, you know, everyone gets a living wage, you know. I mean, I don't see what's so wrong with that. I mean, we have corporate welfare and stuff. So I do think the Green Party might be a little bit better, but I really think it's gonna have to be a no party. You know, I mean, assuming we're gonna do the government thing. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of content with the idea of no government. Although there's a whole theory about all the chaos, but it would really be nice. That's why I do think it's going to have to be a process. We're going to have a government that actually gives a fuck about people, and that's the first step. And just minimizing government, like, over a period of time, you know, and valuing very high, you know, human rights and liberty. You know, I mean, you can tell me all you want that, you know, taxation is theft, and maybe it is, you know. I mean, just because the government does it, does that make it right? I mean, just because some rich guy's a dick, you know, and doesn't want to give his money away, does that mean it's okay to take it? It's up for debate. I'm actually kind of willing to, you know, hear out, you know, the libertarians. In fact, I just went to a libertarian meetup group I'm now involved in, and I was actually quite nice. And honestly, the libertarians aren't as dickish as, you know, the reputation seems. They seem to be like really genuine and not extremely partisan and douchey as the other groups. They're very willing to work with other parties on the specific issues, and one of the best things about libertarians is they seem to be like willing to be like, hey, I don't really agree with you on this, but we agree on this and we can get this done. And they also aren't trying to push their beliefs. Like, it's amazing. Like, there's a shitload of libertarians out there that are atheists. But then there's a whole crap load of, like, Christian, you know, conservative type libertarians. And I don't mean like those fake ass people that claim to be libertarians that are Republican. I mean, and even Ron Paul has his flaws, although he's one of the better Republicans. You know, he's more true to libertarianism, but he definitely has flaws. I'm not going to get into the Ron Paul flaws, but I mean, there are a lot of genuine libertarians, you know, that actually, you know, can have their beliefs, but they're all about separation of church and state, and, you know, I'm not going to force my belief on you, and everyone has their freedom, and whether I disagree with it or not, like, is there a victim? If there's not a victim, that's kind of the key. If there's not a victim, I mean, you can claim that there's a victim in your own little warped way, but, you know, when I say victim, I mean, like, did you beat someone? You know, did you shoot someone? Did you rob someone? You know, if you didn't do, you know, things of that nature, you know, if you, I mean, like drugs, for example, total victimless crime. And another thing is, honestly, you know, people might think it's fucked up, but I mean, if a girl's 16, you know, or a guy's 16, I mean, and they have sex with an adult, I mean, is that 16-year-old really a victim? I mean, we're very willing in this country to, you know, if a 16-year-old commits a crime, you know, they're old enough to know better, so we'll throw them the third degree and put them in this prison industrial complex where we just, even if we let them out, like, you know, just putting them in there for even the slightest period of time just makes them worse. You know, it's not about rehab, it's all about money and power and exercising your control over the people. And I mean, you can talk about crime, like there are people out there that are really heinous people, although I do believe that most of that, you know, evil stems from circumstances. Like, I don't think that we're inherently evil. I think that over a period of time, you know, with a lack of love and compassion in the society, definitely festers inside and destroys the soul. Yeah, the total, like, it's ridiculous the way we treat people, and so simple-minded we are with the, oh, you did a crime, you're a bad person, and now we're gonna make you worse, you know, we're not gonna help you, you know. And I do think most people actually do want jobs, you know, but they want to do a job that they somewhat like, you know, or, I mean, even if they don't like it 100%, they want to at least be respected, you know, instead of getting bitched at all the time and having to do all this shit for, like, peanuts. Maybe, you know, the boss actually is like, hey, you know what, John, that was a really good job, you know, I really like the way you mopped those floors, that was awesome. Just simple. I mean, you don't have to pay someone $1 million, just simple, you know, not being a dick, you know, giving people, being grateful to your employee. Yeah, what's wrong with that, you know? I think, not the liberals, I don't really have so much of a problem, like, because the Green Party is actually kind of more like a true liberal, and the libertarians, you know, in their West government are actually like true liberals. Libertarian, it depends on your complete definition of liberal. I mean, you could say Green Party is more liberal if you're going to take in to account economics and, you know, social programs, you know. But, you know, besides that, the libertarians are actually pretty liberal, you know, not really trying to, you know, generally they tend to support abortion. There are some libertarians out there that are anti-abortion, and, you know, the abortion issue is, I think a lot of people that are pro-life are fucking retarded, but there are a few people here and there that are leaning more to the pro-life side of things and actually somewhat make sense. And I don't like the idea of all these people being born into the world and then we have them in the world and then we don't give a fuck about them, you know. Also, another thing, you know, is not really related to abortion. I'm not going to go into it, but I just got to say circumcision is fucked up. Like, I mean, I guess I understand, you know, why maybe at one time people thought it was okay, but nowadays, I mean, really, like, people really need to get some critical thinking skills. Like, really, like, nowadays, like, you have a boy and you circumcise them. Like, you don't do that to girls, you know, but it's okay to, you know, mutilate male genitalia. You know, I don't know why the genitals are such a concern, you know. It looks better, you know. It's just so much more appealing, you know. I just love, you know, a circumcised cock, you know, and it's so clean, you know. You know, because there's all these diseases if you don't circumcise somehow. You wash it, you know. How hard is it? You know, there's so much nerve endings in that foreskin, you know. It's extra pleasurable. Me myself, I'm circumcised and I'm kind of pissed off about it. You know, if you want to get circumcised, that's fine, you know, when you're 13, you know. I mean, I don't know, some age, you know, preferably like I don't know, I say, like, you know, when you're an adult, when you're 18, maybe then you can make the decision. But, you know, I guess if you go to a psychiatrist and, you know, you're or whatever, you know, they know that you're really sincere and mature enough to make this decision to get circumcised, you know, that's fine. If you really want to, I don't think many people would get circumcised if we had a society that did not tell people they were freaks, you know. There's so many celebrities out there that are uncircumcised. There's so many people in general that are uncircumcised. I mean, Europe, you know, I mean, Germany, you know, I'm not sure if it stands still, but at one point they were at least trying to ban circumcision. And I really hope they did actually ban it and kept it. You had people saying they're anti-Semites, and kind of bad with the history of Germany and Nazism, you know, the whole, we can use that against you. Oh, yeah, you're not letting Jews practice their religion, you know, because you hate Jews, you damn Nazis trying to ban circumcision. It's all a Nazi plot. You know, no, it's a human rights issue. You know, it's a baby, and the first thing you do to it is you fucking cut its damn dick, you know. Whoa. What the hell is with that? You know, I mean, it really does suck. Like, I really wish I wasn't circumcised. Like, god damn it, I really wish I wasn't circumcised. You know, it's just bullshit. You know, it's fine, you know, it's been done. I'm not gonna let it ruin my life. But I'm certainly not going to do that to my son. And, like, honestly, before I have a child, I'm going to make sure that my wife agrees with me, because that's going to be kind of, I don't know the protocol for that. Like, you know, it seems that women, I guess, get the full authority over those situations. I'm not sure, you know, I mean, you know, they have a baby and then, you know, they make you pay child support, you know, even though you were like, hey, you know, I know it was both of us that, you know, were involved in the whole getting pregnant thing, but I'm not really wanting to be a dad right now, and I don't think it's wise for you to want to be a mom right now. Circumstances, like, oh, but you're against abortion. Like, well, you know, if you're against abortion and you decide to have that baby, I mean, me personally, I would be like, fuck, you know, well, I guess I'm going to have to, you know, I would want to, you know, have custody, like, not full custody, but, I mean, depending on the circumstances. I mean, if I was with a crackhead one day when I was drunk, you know, and I got her pregnant, well, yeah, I think I would probably want full custody, but I would want a damn abortion, you know, and, you know, but, I mean, the fact that the guy has to pay child support, like, I'm all for, like, child support, but, like, wait, like, how about not having the kid in the first place? I mean, I'm not for taking away people's rights, but, you know, abortion, most libertarians tend to support it, and I'm pro-choice, I am pro-choice. I think it's important to have that as an option. I think, having a child is a beautiful, wonderful thing, but, I think in a lot of circumstances it would be best to not have a child, especially in this day and age. And, yeah, it's tricky. I do think the earlier the better, definitely. I do find it a little disturbing for me personally. Like I understand if something came up and the life of the mother's in danger, but other than that, I mean, yes, there's rape, but I'm talking about late-term abortions. Like, if you're raped, you kind of know when you get raped, oh shit, I got raped, and it shouldn't take that long to figure out that you're pregnant. So, like, 4 months down the road, after getting raped, you're 4 months pregnant, okay. You got raped, you're gonna have the rapist child, or you're gonna get it aborted. I mean, does it take that long to figure it out? Like, I'm 7 months pregnant, and I'm finally decided to get an abortion. And then maybe there's financial issues, and you finally got around to getting enough money, but I think it's fucked up that, you would have to pay for an abortion. I mean, I'm kind of like anti-government. I think ideally it would be nice that you wouldn't need the government to pay for the abortion. Like, you have good friends and family in your life that contribute. Don't worry about it, no problem, and you don't have to pay me back. We'll raise the funds. I mean, there's the internet, and I guess if you really have a cause, like you got raped and you seem believable and you need to get an abortion, I'm pretty sure if you advertise, if you get it out there and enough people see your video about, hey, I'm fucking pregnant, I got raped, I need an abortion, and I'm sure you could raise the money to get the abortion in the free market system. But I'm not gonna be so like completely naive and idealistic to say that I know 100% that everything will work out, which is why the idea of government is nice. And in a case like that, free abortions, I mean, it saves the government in the long run more, than having to, have another person on, the social welfare, I mean, all the money that costs. It seems like it'd be cheaper just to get an abortion. He's a douchebag, Republicans out there should totally support abortion, but I guess they don't so much mind, the amount of money that government spends. Like they claim they're so upset about the deficit, but the deficit's kind of nice. They get to bitch about something and act like, they're the saviors, and no matter how poor you are, I mean, people gotta consume, so it kind of does contribute to their, private enterprise, and it's another person you can lock up, and hey, there's a problem with crime, we need to lock them up, it's raise taxes to pay for these prisons, it doesn't really matter, they don't care about the amount of money, they're all for war and going all over being world police. So it's interesting, the whole drug war, makes money, but I mean, where does it get its money? It's all about money, but where does it get its money? It gets its money from you and anyone that anyone that's a taxpayer, pays for this. War is good for the economy. Another interesting thing. War is good for the economy. I'll never understand that. They buy up weapons. But where are they getting the money to buy this shit? You know, the taxpayers, you know, where are they getting their money? From a job, which very few people have nowadays, at least a decent job. You know, it's crazy, you know. And people are supposed to be responsible. People are supposed to be responsible and be wise with their money and, you know, get a good job, or even if it's a shitty job, they're supposed to know how to handle their money. Like, gas prices are like sky high, you know, rent is sky high, you know, but people are supposed to be responsible, but government doesn't have to be an example, you know. No, like, government can be like retarded, but yeah, God forbid a person be a little irresponsible and make a few mistakes, you know. We're gonna make them pay for like the rest of their life, make them wish they were dead, you know. And then when you die, you know, you go to hell. You go to hell, because, you know, that's what a loving God does. You know, there's so much hypocrisy. Everyone's a goddamn phony. I don't understand it. Like, you know, liberals, like, oh God, like, I mean, well, not, well, I say liberals, but I mean more like Democrats, or they piss me off more than anyone else, actually. Like, Democrats, more than anyone else out there, actually, they really do. Like, I actually, for a long time, it was Christian conservatives. But, I mean, they're fucking Christian conservatives. They're retarded and they're assholes. And yes, they piss me off. In a way, I could say they piss me off more than Democrats. But I guess the phony, I mean, like, you know what you're getting with you know, one of them people, and these Republicans, you know. We know what you're getting with Republican. It's like, oh, we had George Bush, and he was an asshole, and, you know, damn, that sucks, and let's all talk shit about George Bush and make fun of him and shit, and it was kind of fun. Now with Obama, it's actually just quite depressing. It's like, wow, this guy was supposed to be progressive, and wow, on a lot of things he's worse than Bush. He does support gay marriage, though. Finally, you know, now that it's a safe issue, and if you don't support gay marriage, you're a scumbag. You know, now that it's a safe issue, he's pro-gay. You know, sweet, you know. You know, if we could get a picture of him sucking some cock, you know, I mean, you know, we would just love him even more. You know, yay, he's progressive. You know, all the other issues, no. And a lot of issues, he's worse than Bush, you know. I mean, you know, the drug war, you know, I mean, the invasion of privacy, you know, it's just the depression. It's the depression, you know, of like, this guy's great. Wow, what a letdown. And what's even more depressing and frustrating is the fact that there's so many people out there that are actually like, yeah, Obama's great. I love Obama. He's really good, and like, you know, people should lay off him. And, you know, I mean, when George Bush, like, throw it back to George Bush, when George Bush did this, none of y'all were complaining, but now that Obama's doing it, oh, you're racist. You know, a lot of people are racist. I find that it's ridiculous, the Republicans and their hatred for Obama. A lot of it's race-based, but I'm sure, like, a lot of it, maybe even the majority of it, is simply just partisanship. You know, oh, he's a Democrat, he's the enemy, you know, let's hate on him. The fact that he's black definitely doesn't help at all. And it is ridiculous that they don't really care about, you know, human rights or privacy or any of this stuff, but now they care about it when Obama's doing it, and they say ridiculous things, and they make people that have genuine complaints about the guy, you know, lose credibility. Like, just because, you know, a lot of dumb people, that is, won't listen to you if you're talking shit about Obama, like, because they're so blind and, like, sucking on his dick, you know. yeah, Obama, you know, I don't want to hear anything bad about him. I just, you know, everything good, you know, let's talk up this good stuff and have that all in the media, and anything bad is just not happening, you know, and let's stick with the two-party system, you know, and electoral college is great, and, you know, plurality voting, you know, let's just, you know, change. Who needs change? You know, it's just a nice talking point, you know. But, you know, real change? No, no one likes change. No one likes change at all. So I don't get it. I don't understand what's so fucking hard about, like, everyone getting together and say, like, hey, we're human beings, you know. Some accident happened, or your God or whatever created you, you know, whatever you believe, you know, I'm not trying to argue, or, you know, I don't like the fighting. I mean, deep down, I'm a peaceful, pot-smoking hippie. Well, I haven't smoked pot in a while, and that's actually kind of frustrating. I don't take medication anymore because I think that's bullshit. But I really could use some money and smoke some pot, some good medical pot that's actually beneficial. Not like this, I've smoked some shitty pot out there. I don't see much benefit to it at all. But if I had the ability to smoke, you know, the right marijuana, that would be awesome. And mushrooms, like, you know, once a month, you know, would be amazing. And maybe I could do them with my buddy in North Carolina, you know, and I actually did some morning glory seeds. Like, I ate 100 and, what was it, I think it was like 175 or so, kind of low dose of morning glory seeds. Maybe it was, yeah, I think it was only like 175. He had like 149, and it was his first time doing anything like of that psychedelic nature besides, you know, just marijuana. And it was like a spiritual awakening, you know, like he was much more loving and peaceful, and kind of could overlook, you know, all the shit that upsets people and, you know, makes us say hateful things, you know, when we get really upset and frustrated. And was that cortisol or whatever is, like, you know, raising that stress hormone is, like, bad for your health. And, you know, it is terrible being hateful, and it's one of the most toxic things in the world, you know. And if there's a medication out there that can get rid of that hate and just make you love one another and be like, oh shit, you know, even if I can't change things, you know, I can just be content in myself and me doing the right thing. And, you know, hopefully things will change, and I'll do my part to change things. But in the meantime, I'm gonna look at it more from an outsider, kind of humorous perspective. Like, wow, you know, isn't that funny, you know, and like genuinely be, you know, not really funny, but just not so enraged by the things that you cannot control, you know, just not enraged about this shit that you can't control. I mean, there's this fucking, there's no reason that we can't get along and, you know, stop hating each other and, like, figure out what is best. You know, what is actually best, not what fits into our political agenda and what we think, you know, is best, because it makes us feel good to be right. Because if I believe that we need no government, or if I believe that we need socialism, you know, that has to be right, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Like, I have this little thing I got here I read, and this proves my point, and your little thing that you got is flawed, and you're wrong, and I'm right. You're wrong, and I'm right. And that's all that matters, and everything's great, and I'm going to ignore all the bullshit, you know, and it's all about my little world that I live in and me being right. And if you're suffering, you're just flawed, and you're a fucked up individual, and you don't get me in my socialism. You don't get me in my anarchy. You know, I mean, it'd be actually kind of interesting to combine aspects of socialism and anarchy. You know, libertarian socialist, you know, ever heard of that? Crazy. I haven't done that much research on it. There's so much information and misinformation to filter through. And it's just so challenging. And like, you know, finding someone that you can honestly believe and trust and respect, you know, like this guy is sincere and genuine, you know, there's not much of that, and that's what's really destroying our country, you know, destroying the world, you know. You know, it's not all about your country, you know, it's about the world. We're human beings, okay? You know, deep down, like I said, I'm kind of pot-smoking hippie, you know, I'm a secular humanist, don't believe in religion, I kind of respect Buddhism and some other stuff like that, you know, seems kind of cool from what little I know, which is pretty much nothing. I guess I technically consider myself an atheist, although I do entertain the thought of like the universe as, you know, the cosmos as kind of like that being God, you know, higher power or whatever, or, you know, psychedelics, you know, being their own gods, you know, and, you know, getting you in tune with nature and kind of showing you the way and getting you on the path, you know, the psychedelic gods, you know. It's cool in my book, but I don't actually actively believe in any superstitions. So I guess I would be an atheist, you know. I believe that the world is like huge, the universe, you know, and there probably are other life forms out there. So I do believe in aliens, but I'm not one of those weirdos or anything. I just believe that the odds are that there probably is some form of, you know, somewhat intelligent life. I don't know if it's more intelligent than us, but it could easily be possible that it's out there. Yeah, just getting along, you know, helping each other, you know, regardless of anything, you know, just the fact that someone's human, they shouldn't suffer. I mean, unless they did something horrible, like, you know, you raped a 3-year-old, you know, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna care about that person or help that person. And I don't support the death penalty, let's get that on the record. I don't believe the government should have the authority to kill people, and that principle alone, and then besides that, just the fact that a lot of times it kills innocent people. I'm very against the death penalty, and I think that I could see, though, like, if someone kills your family, I could see, you know, taking your gun and taking justice into your own hand, and I see that as, you know, being justice. I mean, I don't really see a problem with that. I mean, if the person was actually guilty. Now, if you do that and you kill someone, now, we don't necessarily know that person's guilty. I'm afraid the government's going to have to arrest you, and, you know, it makes sense that there would be a trial and everything, and you act it out. Now, you could take into consideration the fact that you thought that person, you know, did something really heinous, and, you know, psychologically, you know, that's the reason why you did it, and, you know, maybe give that person less time. But I mean, murder is murder. But I mean, if you had a videotape of someone like raping your wife, and you're like, oh shit, you know, this serial rapist just sent me the videotape, you know, and I know who it is, you know, I mean, do I think, you know, you should go to the law and waste taxpayer money and have this guy, you know, spend years in prison and then get out? Like, no, like, you know, this guy's guilty, like, you take a gun and you kill them, you know. I don't think the government can do it, but not really necessarily 100% against killing, you know, depending on the circumstance, you know. I mean, that person is a terrible person. Like, I mean, I guess you could look at, you know, oh, there's a chance for rehabilitation, but, you know, it's easy to say as someone, you know, who hasn't had anything bad happen to you and has never been the victim of something like that. But, I mean, if you've been raped, or you know someone that's been raped, you know, that you care about deeply, like, it's easy for someone on the outside to say, oh, well, blah, 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 you know, let's help this person, you know, and justify it and reason. Oh, well, there's plenty of reasons, and some of them make sense, you know, I mean, but it doesn't make it right, and it doesn't change the fact that something bad happened, and it affects you personally. Yeah, I kind of understand blowing their brains away, and I kind of don't feel like you're a threat, and if you're not like a threat, I don't really see why you should be in prison. Like, yeah, you killed someone, but he raped your wife. You're not killing random people for no reason, so you shouldn't be in prison. Like, I'm sorry, you know, you have your own little small business, you hire people, you provide jobs, you know, or even if you're just some homeless guy. I mean, it doesn't matter what your status is in life. If you kill someone that killed your brother, I don't see the government, if we're going to have government. But if we're not going to have government, that's great too. But the only way we're not going to have government is going to be a gradual process, and we as human beings have to come together and prove that we can get along and live in peace and help one another. And if you're going to be one of these, you know, anti-government people, you're going to have to lead by example and help people, and not just, oh, well, I gave this much money, you know, tax write-off, you know, I gave this much money away to some form of a charity, you know, like, you're going to actually have to go out there and actively help people, you know, whether it's volunteering at a homeless shelter, that's cool, but if you have a business, you know, like, why don't you hire someone that you normally wouldn't hire, you know, and why not reform your applications to not be so just seriously debilitating for people to fill out, with all the questions and the mad interrogation that goes on with modern job applications for fucking jobs like, I shit you not, just to work at Joe's Crab Shack as a dishwasher. We're going to ask you how you feel about, do you agree that people are too conservative, or do you feel like there's too many laws that don't make sense? What are you trying to figure out? What are you trying to get inside my fucking head, you know, just to pay me minimum wage to wash dishes? You're trying to get inside my head? Like, what, I mean, what do you want? Just someone who's, you know, smart enough to wash dishes, you know, like, kind of like what George Carlin said, you know, smart enough to do that, but, you know, just dumb enough not to, you know, question anything, you know, I mean, just a fucking worker drone. I don't mind hard work, you know, I don't mind business, I don't mind materialism to an extent, although I think it's totally blown out of proportion and ridiculous, and I think there's a lot of things that are flawed. I think we're over-sexualized, but I think we're also living in the fucking, what do you call them, goddamn Puritan days at the same time, you know. It's this conflict that is just destroying people's minds, you know. I mean, people blame all kinds of things, like, you know, fucking Penthouse, you know, or they want to blame porno, you know, or they want to blame guns, or they want to blame violent video games, they want to blame, you know, someone smoking in a movie who's supposed to be the hero for all the flaws of mankind. It's simple, but it's not that simple. You know, people are going to have to, like, wake up and say, who the fuck am I? And, you know, what do I need to do? You know, I mean, embrace one another, try to get along, you know, try to just, first of all, fix your flaws, you know, or at least make an attempt. I mean, you know, if you have some racist things, or you're a bigot of any type, you know, ask yourself, why the fuck are you a bigot? And where's it getting you in life? And how is it affecting others around you? And you have such a short time on earth. Why do we want to continue fussing and fighting? Why? You know, it's the tragedy, the pain. You know, when it's so easy to get along, you know, educate yourself, you know, and don't be a dick, you know, I mean, that should be the rule, you know. Don't be a dick. Yeah, great rule. Don't be a goddamn dick. You know, if you can help someone, help them, you know. And I mean, if that means giving some homeless guy 50 cents on the street, give him 50 cents and don't ask him, what are you going to do with this money now, sir? I mean, if I give you 50 cents, I mean, you know, I might help you start your own business, you know, and you might really pick yourself up with this 50 cents. Oh boy, you know. You know, the Salvation Army, I hear they're really great. They help you get a job and everything. Yeah, young man, you know, or some old guy. Why are you homeless, sir? You know, why don't you tell me your little story? You know, why don't you lie to me, convince me that you're, you know, homeless through no fault of your own? You know, there are homeless people that are homeless through no fault of their own, but, I mean, things are fucked up, especially nowadays, but a lot of times, you know, I would say the majority of times, you know, even nowadays, as fucked up as things are, people tend to be homeless. They probably made at least one mistake, you know, to some degree, at some point in time that set them wheels in motion. You know, and just because it's someone's fault doesn't mean you shouldn't have compassion. You know, okay, so it's not your fault, or it is your fault. Does that, no, I'm going to help anyone I can help, you know, and, you know, I mean, and what is someone going to do with 50 cents? I mean, I guess if everyone gave the guy 50 cents, you know, it really would add up. I mean, I say, you know, if you got a nickel, give the guy a nickel. I mean, I wouldn't be insulted. If you're a homeless guy and someone gives you, you know, a nickel, I mean, what, you expect them to go to the damn ATM machine? I don't care if they're driving a Mercedes, you know. You can't honestly expect them to go to an ATM machine and get you a $20 bill. It's not going to happen. Like, if someone gives you a nickel, you say, oh, thanks, you know, no, it's okay. And usually if you're the one given a nickel, you're going to say, oh, shit, man, I'm sorry, man. That's all I got. You know, I mean, I don't got any cash. I mean, I got a nickel, you know, I mean, but I guess it adds up, you know, good luck out there. You know, and I'm going to be like, okay, thanks, you know, I appreciate that, you know, I mean, it's a lot better than getting bitched at, like a lot of douchebags seem to want to do, give you some lecture. If you're asking for money, God forbid, you know, why don't you just get a job? Well, sir, do you have a business? Can you hire me? You know, I don't have a car, I don't have transportation, you know, but, you know, could you pick me up? You know, I mean, do you have a house? Do you have like a little, you know, pool house, you know, I could like move into, you know, I mean, how willing are you to help me, you know, sir? Like, you know, you want to know all this shit about me, you know, I mean, damn it, you know, but if someone wants to just give you a nickel, thank them, that's fine. But I mean, if you're giving people nickels, that's great. You know, if everyone gave you someone a nickel, you know, it would add up, and maybe, you know, like I said, it takes money to make money. You might be able to use that money and invest it into something productive. You know, I mean, if you had 10 grand, I mean, that would be somewhat of a start. You know, at least you could, you know, maybe get a van and, you know, live in your van and, you know, travel somewhere where you want to be and be independent. You know, maybe have a video camera, you know, a guitar, you know, whatever, you know, pursue your talent. You know, maybe try to find a job if you can, you know, doing something for minimum wage, you know, but mainly pursue your talent, you know, or go to college if there's something you really want to go do that requires a college education, you know, but mainly just be happy day to day, one day at a time, you know, and don't, you know, get addicted to heroin or coke or meth or whatever, you know, but, you know, if for you, you know, you're happy just, you know, being with good people, and, you know, you got a van, you know, and you smoke some good ganja and eat mushrooms from time to time, and you go out and meet people and, you know, are involved in things, you know, volunteer at the animal shelter. Shit, awesome, you know. Maybe one day, you know, you'll write a book and it'll be a bestseller. I mean, cool, awesome. But people really need to learn that it's not that simple out there, and that if people aren't successful, it's not 100% their fault. And if you can help someone, even if they're gonna buy a beer, you know, ooh, you know, I hope they're not like an alcoholic that buys a beer and like winds up like in a dumpster, you know. I mean, but is it your fault? Like, oh, I'm contributing to their damage. You know, no, you're not really contributing to their damage. Like, you gave that person money. It's their personal responsibility what they're gonna do with it. You know, you only give people what you can afford to give people. I mean, if that dollar doesn't hurt you, then give them $1, and like, you can, whether they get a fucking beer or they, you know, get a sandwich, you know, either way you did the right thing, and you helped someone, you know, even if it didn't necessarily help them. Like, that's on them, you know, what they do with their money. I mean, and it does help them, actually. I mean, because mentally it helps them. Anytime, you know, I mean, at least a homeless person that's worth a damn, you know, there are some homeless people that are just lazy, self-entitled, fucking scumbag, asshole, swine, you know, fucking kill them all. Like, there are some fucking shitty ass homeless people out there, and I hate it. It gives a bad name to the people that, you know, made a few mistakes and it's like, oh fuck, you know. But I think I don't know if it's the most part, but there's definitely a percentage of homeless people that are genuinely grateful and are like, you know, hell yeah, this person, you know, helped me out. This person cares, you know, this person didn't look down on me. You know, this person, we had a short conversation, you know, and it wasn't like the traditional, you know, oh, well, let me tell you this, my parents, you see, they're kind of emotionally unsupportive and borderline abusive, and, you know, I have different beliefs than them, and they kicked me out of my house, and, you know, I don't have many friends, and my friends don't have money, and I can't really, you know, stay, and even if they did have money, well, I mean, they don't have a job to give me. Like, I don't know, I have a criminal record. You know, they ask me all these questions, like, have you ever been convicted of any crime, ever? You know, on an application just to do some McDonald's crap, you know, like, you know, you go into, like, these interviews where you can't even get an interview, but they ask you all these psychological questions beforehand that kind of tend to throw you off. And then if you're lucky enough to get an interview, they just don't hire you for whatever reason. You haven't had a job in 4 years, you have bad anxiety, and blah 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 blah, woe is me, cry cry cry. Like, a homeless person does not want to have that conversation with someone. Like, it's none of your damn business. Like, you know, you're gonna help the person or you're not gonna help the person, and at some point, you know, maybe, you know, when the person feels comfortable with you, you know, you might learn more about them, but you're either going to help the person or not. You know, they don't want to have that sob story. And I don't think, you know, it's sad that a lot of times the sob story homeless people actually get more money, you know, than someone who's just like, hey, what's up, you know? Someone who's trying to be normal and healthy, you know? Like, and a lot of times the sob story people are full of shit, and they're like scumbag actors, you know? You know, I mean, the sob story is fucking played out, like, and personally, I'd rather not hear the sob story. You know, it'd be very rare for a sob story to actually impact me, you know, or me to take it seriously. Like, rather you just come up to me and say, yo, you know, I need $1, I need $1 to get, you know, I'm $1 short of a 6-pack, you know, dude, can I get $1? you know? Oh, dude, sweet, thanks, you know? I'm not going to ask them like, oh, well, why are you getting a six-pack of beer, you know? Shouldn't you be trying to get a job? Then you can buy your own beer. You can buy as much beer as you want. I don't care, you know, why they're getting a six-pack of beer or why they don't have a job. But honestly, nowadays, it's so hard to get a job. And if you have a criminal record or you have some sort of mental issues that, you know, freak you the fuck out on an application when they're asking you all these damn fucking personal questions. And then you have a shitty job history too on top of it, you know, bad credit. You know, there's so many people that have, you know, that look better on paper, you know, that you're competing with. You know, there's all these people you're competing with. So I mean, what are your fucking chances? You know, I mean, I actually think I am like one of the greatest employees any employer could have. And I mean that sincerely. I feel like I don't ask for much. I'm not going to ask for too much pay. I feel like at this point I would be really grateful if someone just hired me and it'd be like, oh shit. And you know, it could be just a job working in a gas station. You know, that's a great job, and I've had lots of jobs and experience, and you know, I don't have to explain myself. Well, why didn't that work out? Isn't it really all your fault? And so you're maybe not a great employee. No, maybe sometimes to an extent it was my fault, but you know, to a large degree, it's called employers tend to be dicks. You know, do I mind? Like, I mean, you know, fucking ringing people up, fucking selling lottery tickets, fucking stocking the cooler, cleaning the bathroom, you know, all kinds of stuff, taking out trash, you know, back and forth, bam, 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 and like at the same time really friendly with customers, like remembering like, you know, guy orders like, you know, Salem Black Labels and, you know, fucking Budweiser, and you're like, hey, does your wife need any cigarettes? And he's like, oh yeah, you know, thanks for reminding me. And you go ahead and grab the fucking Marble Lights, you know exactly what he smokes, you know, you upsell, you know, but not in a douchebag business, you know, a fucking asshole way, you know, just like genuinely helpful to the customer. You know, I remember you, like, yeah, you're straight, you know, I know your age, I know everything I need to know, I know, like, hey, how you doing, what's up, you know, blah, blah, have a little conversation if there's not a line, you know, laugh a little, you know, actually, when I'm actually socialized and around people and feel like a normal human being doing a job, you know, I actually, wow, I'm a normal, like, nice, healthy guy, like, actually a lot better than most people. Wow, imagine that. You know, I mean, going to that libertarian thing, you know, it'd be nice if someone there, like, had a business and could hire me, but just going there and, like, listening to someone talk about GMO labeling, some guy that actually ran as a Democrat, you know, for, Congress in 2012. Some guy that's an Episcopalian and he's for gay marriage, you know, and he, you know, wow, like, you know, just people that are genuinely nice, you know, and you know, I might not agree with you on everything, but you know, wow, you know, genuinely I hate Christians and, you know, can't stand anyone that has any faith, but you know, if you're, I mean, wow, I was even watching Glenn Beck, and I still don't really trust Glenn Beck or know where he's going, but as of like 6 months ago, I was like, I saw something with Penn Jillette, and I was like, oh shit, Glenn Beck is seeing the light. He may be a retarded Christian, but he's waking up and not trying to, like, control people and trying to give, you know, I'm like, what, is Glenn Beck, like, against the drug war? You know, wow. I'm like, you know, I don't know if he's going to be like Rand Paul and be a flip-flopper, but, you know, it's kind of interesting out there, you know. Point being, I'm willing to listen to anyone as long as you don't try to give me some bullshit cliche advice. you know, or tell me like life is what you make it, blah blah blah. You know, if you're in a car and you think you're gonna be car sick, then you're gonna be car sick. Life's what you make it. You don't need friends or a social life or a girlfriend or, you know, an occasional piece of pussy, you know. I mean, no. You don't need any of that. You know, just tell yourself, I'm happy, and you'll be happy. You know, a lot of people have it a lot worse than you. You know, there's starving children in Africa, and you have no right to complain. You know, and I used to do that with Hollywood celebrities. You know, I used to be like, man, fuck you, celebrity, you know, you alcoholic, douchebag celebrity, oh, your life's so bad, daddy didn't love me. But, you know what, it's really true. The one cliche thing I actually believe in, one of the few, is the whole walk a mile in someone's shoes, or moccasins, I think was the old saying, you know. I think that's very true, and I still will hate on celebrities, you know, because I'm a hypocrite, I'm a phony, I'm not really much of a phony, but I am a little bit of a hypocrite. I do contradict myself, you know, just like all human beings. But I do try to be honest, and I do try to be the best person that I can. So, I mean, so long ass rambling, an hour and 5 minutes. If you're actually still listening to this, you're awesome. You're actually amazing. You're pretty cool for that alone. You don't even have to give me any money. Now, if you do have some money, though, I'm going to do the obligatory, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to cry. But, yeah, my situation's kind of fucked up. And as you can tell, I don't really have besides the situation being fucked up, you know, my mental state, I'm not one of them people who believes that, well, you just got to do this and do that and then everything's going to work out. I kind of think it's kind of like a catch-22. The situation is, you know, you have to get right spiritually, you know, first. You know, you have to get that right, and then everything will flow naturally, and you'll be on the path, and you'll know what actions to do. You'll have opportunity to take advantage of opportunities and act on them, and get out and actively, you know, be sharp in the mind. Be sharp in the mind. I mean, it's fucked up though. You gotta get all these material things, you know, before you can get right spiritually. But you have to get right spiritually before you can get the material things. So it's, you know, I mean, people can say, oh, just meditate. You know how hard it is to fucking meditate. You know. I mean, if that shit works, you know, like, I mean, the process, the amount of time it takes to get right spiritually, like the Buddhist route, like, you know, shortcuts aren't really worth it, blah, blah, blah. You never get anything when you take shortcuts, you know. No, that's kind of bullshit. Shortcuts are actually pretty cool, you know. It wasn't going on a long trip, and it's like, you know, if you're not bullshit and you really know it's a shortcut that's actually going to work, you're going to take the shortcut and you're going to get to your destination, you know, an hour early. You know, I'd say that's pretty beneficial. That's kind of how I see mushrooms, you know, more so than pot. Pot's like kind of the daily thing, you know, and it helps with, I do have like back pain, neck pain, and headaches like every day. It'd be nice if I could smoke pot and, you know, like, you know, start working out and eat healthy. I already drink plenty of water, so that's good. My sleep schedule's a little fucked. But no, mushrooms mainly, you know, I mean, it's so amazing on them, and then the next day, you know, it's still amazing. It's not like a hangover or anything like that, you know, and I feel like I could start talking to more people and feel a little bit more human, and maybe things would work out. If I felt better and I was more positive, I could attract more positivity. My mind would be sharper, you know, if I was able to get in tune spiritually, you know. So yeah, you know, you could always PayPal me some money at Carl Thomas Wilkinson at gmail.com. That is Carl with a C, Thomas, Thomas, Wilkinson, Wilkinson, at gmail.com. That is my PayPal handle. You know, I also have a Bitcoin address. You know, you can, I think that's on another video. I'll actually post my Bitcoin address if you want to send me some Bitcoin. That'd be cool. I doubt anyone's still watching this, and if you are, you know, and you have a little bit of money you can afford to give, I mean, if you respect my honesty and sincerity, and you like what I have to say, and you want to help, cool. If not, fuck it. You know, I don't even care if I don't get any views. I'm just making these videos for the fuck of it, because I see so much bullshit out there in this fucking YouTube, like how much crap there is, and you know, people get on like Tosh.0, you know, dumbasses, you know, and Tosh.0, fucking dumbass, you know. Wow, I mean, there is actually some quality stuff, and I'll admit, you know, mine's probably on the lower quality side of things at the moment, you know, but if you give me some mushrooms, you know, and let me, you know, like come up here, and it'd be more interesting maybe, you know, if I could be on some mushrooms and then make some YouTube videos. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, you know, it'd probably be better than just me randomly, you know, I don't know, make a YouTube video and ramble for an hour and 10, 11, 12 minutes. You know, maybe if I had some mushrooms it'd be better. But even, I will say, even the better videos, like, I still think like they might have better videos and be more entertaining, but I still think I'm like the better person, and I think if I could get my if I could get it down pat, like I would probably be even more entertaining. I would be a better person and more entertaining, and just really genuine and sincere and just the shit, you know. I fucking rock. And I really do. I actually, you know, I have some self-esteem issues, but I actually think I'm one of the coolest persons ever to exist. I do think I fucking rock. I think I have a shitload of potential, and if I could just get a little bit of help, I think I could go skyrocket fast in society. And I'm passionate about drugs, and I don't mean that in a druggy bad way, you know. I'm passionate about them and knowledge and knowing the pros and cons of various drugs, and you know, I would love to have everyone, you know, have their medicine, you know, freely and not be suffering, and I would love to grow marijuana and you know, sell it at a reasonable price, high quality marijuana, and be someone out there that, you know, I mean, I have to sell it for money. I mean, I would rather just give it to people for free, but, you know, people need money in this society, so it would be nice to make money doing something that was productive and good. I mean, people sell all kinds of stuff. I mean, so, you know, I would sell some marijuana, you know, to people, really good marijuana, and that'd be a cheaper price than they can get it anywhere else. I mean, I'd like to sell pot cheaper than dispensaries, you know. I'd like to grow mushrooms and sell mushrooms, you know, and I'd like to be knowledgeable and actually be able to help people, and, you know, I wouldn't sell heroin or anything like that, although I do think we do need to end the wars. I do think pure clean heroin should be readily available at a reasonable price. I don't think, you know, even shooting heroin one time, you know, is necessarily a horrible thing to do or going to ruin your life. You know, if it's clean heroin, it's a clean needle, and you know how to hit your vein right, and it's like, you know, a once in a while thing, and it doesn't become like a escape from reality, like I have to do this addiction. You know, it's just like, wow, this is fun and really pleasurable. I do it every once in a while, you know. Oh, you know, on my birthday I usually snort some coke, you know. I don't do that. I've done coke before, but I'm not a huge fan. Like I said, I'm more of a psychedelics guy, but, you know, if I were to do cocaine on my birthday, like, you know, and it's just something I did, me and my friends get together and do some coke, like, you know, I don't think that would be bad. you know, if you take away the like illegality and you know, putting people in cages and, you know, the high cost financially, you know, I mean, you know, and the quality of the substance. I mean, if you could go to a market and legally get, you know, 90% pure cocaine, you know, for, you know, $75 for a gram, you know, whoa, I can get like fucking nearly pure cocaine for $75 a gram, and it's a once in a while thing, and you're not going broke over it, and it's, you know, it's clean, it's like, you know, fucking laboratory, you know, grade, like experts, you know, that wouldn't be a problem. Oh, I don't encourage that to anyone, you know, but I mean, if it was legal and under those circumstances, it would not be a problem. You're still taking a risk anytime you do something like that, because it's so good, and, you know, depending on your mental state, you're more susceptible to, you know, major addiction, and that's not good, you know. It'd be nice if people, when they get addicted, could wake up and realize, like, oh shit, you know, maybe this shit's not fun anymore, and the pleasure's going down, the pain's going up, and this shit's just pretty much all pain, and I need to get help. And it'd be nice if there was ibogaine therapy, was legal and affordable and free, you know. If you are a heroin addict, you know, and you live in the United States of America, you know, you don't need to be put in a cage, or you don't have to go to NA and that be like the only way to get better, you know. And, you know, of course we don't help you with a job or anything, and we, you know, tell you you're all flawed. No, I mean, I think ibogaine therapy would be really great, and I think it should be free. Like, oh shit, this guy's a heroin addict, you know, we're the US government, and we're gonna give you ibogaine therapy for free, you know, and you're gonna have a spiritual awakening and, like, wake up and, you know, be all the good aspects of you, but at the same time be a whole new person, you know. And, you know, all the bad stuff is, I mean, it's still part of you, but you can look at it as like, you know, you've learned from that. You realize now all these things that you've done, and you've moved on, and you're in control of yourself, and you're, you know, you're just indescribable. Like, I mean, only way I can relate to it is I've felt a fraction of that pure peace, and it's amazing. You're still the same person, but that little bit of pure peace that you get from like 2 grams of dried mushrooms, you know, not a very strong trip. I didn't hallucinate or anything, but that's just a taste, you know, of spiritual gold, you know. And to just not be high all the time, but just genuinely be at peace, you know, and not this bullshit, I gotta go to church, you know, Jesus, if I do bad I'm going to hell. Like, no, genuinely peace, you know, just like, wow, you know. And then you're on the path, and, you know, the actions flow, and it's great. And there's no reason for any pain in this world. There's no reason for anyone to hate another person. I mean, because there's no reason for people to do bad stuff in the, I mean, you know, or God, you know, when Eve ate the apple, you know, all this stuff happened. Like, I don't honestly believe that we're gonna have world peace ever. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we blow ourselves up and take all the animals and Mother Nature with us. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But I also really, I mean, fuck this bullshit. Fuck this bullshit. You know. So depressing, but I can't even cry about it. You know, the world is fucked up, and it bothers me. What the fuck is wrong with me? I am seriously not right mentally, you know. Like, who the fuck is bothered by, like, you know, fucking suffering. I mean, who cares about other people's pain? Someone that experiences pain themselves, so they can empathize, you know, and they realize that this whole world's fucking crazy and full of pain, and it's not good because I know what it feels like, you know. And yes, there's other people that have worse pain than me, but you know, it's not a competition. It's just any amount of pain. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I guess there has to be some pain to be pleasure. I mean, sure. I mean, I'm not saying that pain is, you know, but it's the graph. You know, it's the amount of pain versus the amount of pleasure. You know, that is what's disturbing. You know, it's not like a little tiny, you know, bit of pain, you know, and the rest is pleasure. Just enough pain to make you appreciate, you know, every now and then, you know, what you got. You know, that would be the way it's supposed to be. There's no reason for this constant bullshit and judgment. It's sick.